Hello, I am Bentham and welcome back to Factory Town. In the previous episode we built a new little factory town right next to our old one. We're starting afresh but in the same place because that's easier because we already have a town that is building all of our building materials for us. Though maybe not at a fantastically high rate. We're slowly getting back our stone bricks. It's a good job I increased the capacity of that barn, so we will actually get them back at a reasonable-ish, well, we had a stockpile. I guess the speed hasn't changed, but we had a big stockpile to work from at the start to get all our nice stone roads built, because from now on, everything's going to be stone roads, giant 3-meter wide highways that multiple people, carts, and most importantly, belts can travel down. That is the key. So yeah, we're going to get to work today and actually getting some materials being supplied to these new homes. And we'll start, I think, obviously, with food. Everyone eats food. Food's always good, and it's pretty simple. You just need a farm and maybe a kitchen if you're feeling like being fancy. One thing we can do immediately is get the food supply we already have, because there is one over here in this farm right here. So, I think what I'm going to do is literally just grab it, swing it around, and bring it to the food market. I realize that maybe I should have put the food market and the general store swapped, but I've made this bed now, and I think I'm going to lie in it. This is my last chance to change it. There's more water on this side, which means that it's better for farmland, I guess, having farms around the edges, though if we're having the grid system, maybe that won't matter so much. It's hard to say. Let's keep it as it is, and we'll start building farms over in this area. But we will first of all get this farm bringing stuff in. So, basically just need to make sure we can get underneath that, and then swing around this way. You know what, we'll use the road. That's the idea of these. By having these super wide roads, we can safely bring belts down them without having to worry too much about them getting in the way of stuff and things. So, you know what, actually, we'll have this just dead middle as a starting thing. 5 high, because that is the key height we want for a lot of things here. It's going to come to here, and then here. And then we got to bring in scaffolding from this direction, and they'll work out pretty well. So yeah, the reason 5 high is what we want is because it's just high enough to go over these houses while being just low enough to plug into these buildings that I've put at an extra high height. So as well as bringing them along the roads, we can also bring things over the houses, which we will need to do because each of these can take 8 different things being delivered to it. Maybe even potentially more, I think, though I'm not sure if it works if you have more than 8 things. So that means there's a potential 32 belts coming into this region. So that's something we got to bear in mind. Like, maybe I could put these things on the outside corners, seeing as I'm doing these small town designs, but I like the idea of having them in the middle and just having giant belts going over the top of all these homes. By the end of it, it's going to be hard to see these homes for all the belts coming in delivering things to keep these homes happy. So luckily, happiness is not related to the abundance of sunlight. So let us build ourselves a silo. That was not a silo. I misclicked. Let's try that again. A silo. Plonk. And then we'll need some chutes. Though the first thing we should do is actually put the grabber in first before anything can be grabbed by it, before we tell it what it's supposed to be grabbing, which is berries and carrots. Oh, we can only pick one thing. Ah. In that case, I will pick berries. And I might actually do something with that. There's now no point in growing the carrots unless we're using them for a recipe, because we've already got one thing that will keep things supplied. Though, let me actually check. Carrots are 1 coin, berries are 2 coins. Berries are better. Like, they're farmed quicker and everything. They're just straight up better. We may want to make it into juice on the way, though. We'll deal with that later. We've got to take things one step at a time here. I need to not try and tackle multiple problems at once. Like, this is supposed to be phased out later. I'm just putting it in so we get more happiness and more money in the meantime, really. And that should do it. We'll come along the chute, hop into here. We'll immediately start fulfilling the food happiness to tier 3 and generate 2 coins every time we do. So it initially goes very quickly, and then once it builds up, it stops fulfilling the order until the bar is empty enough that nothing would be wasted by selling the berry. That's the idea. So a berry can fulfill 20% of the fruit and vegetables category. So when 20% of one of these bars is empty, then it fills it back up. That's the idea. So yeah, there's now 10 in storage. It's all built up the rest of the time. And this farm's doing great for itself. It barely has to run, honestly. Could probably run way slower than it is. Maybe. Oh, it's having to farm a crap ton of berries to fill up the silo to get started. That's the thing about the silos. I kind of don't want there to be a bunch of stuff in them, but I need them because they are the elevators that I use. So yeah, that's all working now. We're no longer having fruit and veg be delivered here. I suppose we could get the carrots coming over, and then we would get happiness from... Oh yeah, that's the way of doing it, actually. There's still a reason to harvest carrots, because we can put them into the other town. But then again, we could also just connect berries to that town, and that would be just as effective. So, Okay, let's start working through the other categories of the food market. So the first one is grains. We could just do grain, or we could be fancy and go for flour, but I think we should go for bread. Not quite sandwich, because sandwich is complicated way more than bread is, which is why it's worth twice as much. Bread is something we can definitely achieve. So, we're going to work backwards and outwards. That is the way to do it. So we start with a kitchen. We'll have to build it over here because there's a bunch of coal here, though we will use that in the kitchen. So that's one way to get rid of it. So yeah, bread is easy. It uses fuel and flour, whereas sandwiches are too much effort. It's bread and then also cheese and cooked chicken, which means making wheat to make grain, to make animal feed, to feed chickens, to get the chicken. Then you got to do something with the fertilizer, probably fuel this with it. And then also, to make cheese, you have to do that whole process again, but instead for milk from cows. And then you have to combine that with cloth to make cheese, because I think there's a thing about real life thing where you run milk through a cloth or something. I don't really know how to make cheese, but I think cloth is involved somehow, and that's why that recipe makes sense. So they deliberately make it difficult, and so it will take time, so we'll not bother with that for now. We'll just make bread, because it's flour and fuel. It's easy. And then, yeah, so it makes them 1 every 4 seconds. That seems like a reasonable amount. I think I'll try and provide them 1 every 4 seconds. I don't know if that's enough or not. I think it's probably more than enough. And our speed is 140% already. Happiness is doing okay. And so, yeah, if we want to maintain that, we need 2 flour every 4 seconds. So next we'll make a flour thing. So... buildings... I think I skipped past it. There it is, grain mill. We'll plonk a grain mill probably right next to the kitchen. You make flour. You make 1 per 4 seconds, so that's half the speed. So we may want a second grain mill. I'll try it with 1, but I'll leave a space here to add another one later. Okay. We'll need to get rid of these trees here. Then we need to make the farms. So, buildings... farm. Oh, we can't quite have it that far back because there's too much water. I can build one there, and that's provided with some water, so that's good. I can do some terrain formation. Terrain flatten up. There we go. Gives us a little bit extra. That's probably enough. Let's see if it allows it now. Build me a farm. Yep, it works. We can have 2 farms. Because these will produce wheat at a rate of 1 every 1.5 seconds, these need 3 to make a flour. So that means we basically want 1 a second to make the bread, so having 2 farms is better. To make sure we're doing that. Then we'll get some aerial belt stuff happening, because I'm going to put the food underneath. So, shoot. Shoot, shoot, and I missed the option there. There we go. Have those both run into that for now. The ratios aren't exactly correct, but then a big chunk of this game is messing about with the speeds of buildings by putting people in them to make it work. So I think we'll be fine. They're already getting to watering them, it looks like. Or those are just automatically watered because they're so close to water. That's nice. I like that that's a feature. Then we'll plant a whole bunch of grain. This should be more than enough to keep these happy, especially considering I'm not overclocking them. I'm just going to have them run at 1 speed, at least for now. Though admittedly, their base speed is 140 already. Got to bear in mind that as the game progresses and the speeds of the buildings increases, they're going to need more farmland to keep everything running properly. Okay, and what I can also do now is Control-C, Control-V to copy and paste the the requirements. So yeah, the only thing stopping this from running right now is the fact that the grain hasn't grown yet, which it will in a second because it's all being watered already. No fertilizer right now, I'll have to do something about that later. I'm going to flip this around so it matches up with front of this. I'm going to build a little... Oh, you know what the other thing I need is actually... to make these work... grabbers. Never forget the grabbers. Now it'll work. Speaking of, we need a grabber here, that's how I remembered. This can run off chutes, so that works well. And there we go, we've got the grain going in. Now we need the fuel and... Oh, hey! There's a giant coal deposit right here. Let's use this for now. It's maybe a bit of a weird way of doing it, but we might as well put this towards something. So... silo. Just right here, I guess. And then the stuff can come out of a chute. And a couple of people can load it into there. We could have loaded it directly into the building, but I like the idea of building up a bit of a supply and potentially splitting off of this chute later to go up and down the road to other kitchens that might need fueling. Alright, we are now making bread, so let's go get this connected up to the food market. Excuse me. Okay, apparently I need some water with this bread. I'm just randomly milling back. This is the thing that I still do in this game after playing it for a little bit more, is I still continue to randomly flick around looking at nothing in particular, and just forgetting what I'm trying to find, and just randomly pressing buttons and hoping that the game tells me what I'm doing. It is a bad habit that I'm trying to break. But I usually snap to my senses sooner or later and start to actually do something. It's the talking, probably, distracting me. So there we go, bunch of bread. And that will very quickly get this up to 3 tiers of happiness. It could go to 5, but we don't have 5 yet. Let's see if we can do something about that. Some of these still need upgrading. We've now had a bit of time for stone to build up, so hopefully I can just do all of these now. This is going to wreck certain other things, but whatever. Okay, I think that's all done, which means we should now be at 45, and indeed we are. So that's got us up to tier 4, so we are getting a little bit more out of this bread now. It's getting that filled up. We get 1 extra point of happiness, and I think every 5 points is another 10% of production. So it's pretty good. Yeah, it's like, I think any happiness at all gives you plus 10, and then 5 gives you plus 20. 10 gives you plus 30, 15 gives you plus 40, or it might be based on 4s, so 16 is given as plus 40. That's, yeah, I think it's 4s now I think about it. Okay, so yeah, that's just going to carry on running now, doing its thing, a little self-contained system. The only issue is the coal that has to be brought in from outside that will eventually deplete, at which point we'll hopefully have more coal we can bring in from elsewhere. And yeah, the limiting factor right now is flour. Are we building up a supply of bread? That is the question. It's at 3, goes to 4, back to 3, holds at 3 for quite a while. We're not making enough, because it's spending more and more time at 3 each time, which means slowly but surely it is depleting its supply. That is the thing about the higher tiers, is that they deplete the bar quicker, so you have to put more and more effort in to maintain maximum happiness the further you go. Not just a case of once you have like more than is needed for tier 1, you're good for the rest of it. No, you've got to keep pushing it further and further to go higher in the tiers, because each one will drain it just that little bit faster. So yeah, limiting thing is definitely the grain mill, so we'll put in a second grain mill. I think we can even split the farms we have between the current grain mill and this new one, and that will work out better. Like, it'll be enough. It'll make the difference. So bring this over. More chutes. Another grabber. And then we'll actually just break this here. And instead bring it out this way. Let's go this way for a little bit and then go across. Just so we're not interfering with anything else that might be around here, maybe, that wants to output anywhere. Okay. There we go, and wait, why did I do... I'm making this unnecessarily complicated there, doing a weird wiggle for absolutely no reason. There we go. I think that'll tip the balance. It'll mean that each grain mill isn't running all the time because it's not going to get enough grain, but they'll be making enough flour between them anyway that it's okay. Basically, we need like 50% more. I could have overclocked it, but I want to save on people. It's the better thing with that in mind. And yeah, now there's a lot more bread coming in, which is good because the supply ran out. Now the bar should start building up rapidly again. There we go, one sat in there before being used because it didn't deplete enough. And then one sitting in there and then staying. And now some stew. Yeah, that's all going more than well enough now. Even at tier 5, I think we'll be able to keep things up with this rate of production. In fact, it seems to be exactly 1 every 4 seconds, as it turns out. Even though the grain mills presumably aren't running at full speed. Oh, they practically are, it seems. Oh yeah, I suppose it's not too bad, because it's 4 seconds and it uses 3, and these are making 1 every 1.5 seconds, so every 4.5 seconds they make 3 grain, and then it takes 4 seconds to use it, so there's a half second when nothing's happening. Though there is, you have to bear in mind with farms that the ratios should never actually be perfect, because they need to spend some time applying water and fertilizer, and that slows down the grain farming process. So always have a little bit of extra, or have a dedicated farm separate from them that fertilizes and waters their crops, or don't use fertilization and water, because you don't necessarily need to. You just use that to make sure that your crops will go far enough. It just speeds up the growth and isn't necessary if you have enough crops to spare. But probably inefficient in terms of land. I don't really know. Okay, so that's that done. What's next on the list? Meat. So cooked fish is the obvious choice here. We have some fish nearby. We can bring them in. Cook them pretty easily. We have some coal right here. That'll work for that. Yeah. We can chuck that together in a couple of minutes. No. Sometimes the menus stick to your mouse and don't go away, and it's scary for a moment. Okay. Kitchen. Plonk. You will make cooked fish. 1 every 5 seconds. That should be enough. Actually, what's the, like... That's a 50% fulfillment. That's fantastic then. Yeah, it's the same as bread. That should be enough, easily. And then... I mean, literally, that's all we need. And someone bringing the fish. And there's actually 2 bits of fish here, so we can go to the other one just to make sure we don't overfish, though I think we're miles away from that ever happening. That was the wrong button. Build, worker, fishing boat, Blanc. And I kind of just want to deliver directly to the kitchen, I'll be honest. Can I move it to there? Oh, not quite. Hold on. Train block up. There. Move it to there. We'll leave space for something else to go there. That means we can literally deliver the fish directly to the kitchen, which I think should be fine. It's got a capacity for like 10 or 20 in it anyway. And that should presumably work. So... yeah, I guess I can go up to level 5, and then it won't interfere with any buildings that may come along below later down the line. So there's literally no problem with it. What I will do for fuel is bring this down here. So it seems like we're going to have this central branch of coal that's going to be delivering to anything that needs it. This is going to be our kitchen district because this is the side that the food thing is on. So it's where all our food stuff is going to happen. There we go. And this is making cooked fish now. So we'll have this here. Go up by 2. All it needs to do. And then just run along the road here. And so, yeah, we've immediately blotted out this road entirely. In terms of the sun, except that there's gaps. It's fine, there's gaps. People can get some sunlight. They'll be fine. Okay, and then the belts. And finally, a grabber. And that's cooked fish being provided as well. So we'll get even more yellow coins. Is our yellow coin supply even... Yeah, it's going up, like, noticeably right now. It's not by a huge amount, though. Definitely not going to complain about getting more added to that, but it's definitely on the rise. But I think our red coins are on the rise even more. Right, there they go. Rapidly filling up the meat category and starting to build up in the inventory. Fantastic! I might get fruit juice going. Then again, like, berries are doing almost as much as fruit juice is right now in terms of happiness, at least. And right now I think happiness is what I want to more focus on. We're up to 25 now. Production, like, plus 60 to base production now. That's already pretty awesome. Not going to complain about that one bit. Next on the list, oh, we could go for cheese. It's a little bit awkward because you got to get cloth and stuff and get that from wool or cotton. I guess there's options. Yeah, we could go for cheese, and then gourmet. Like, I'm just gonna pretend the gourmet category doesn't exist for now because screw having to set up all the things needed to make berry cake or even apple pie. Berry cake's the worst one, as demonstrated by it giving you 40 coins each. It's bloomin'. I should think so. I've made that. It's a nightmare. I'm tempted to start on red coins soon, but I think we'll make cheese, and then we've got basically the food market sorted just entirely for this thing. So I think I want to extend some roads out a bit now. Start branching out across this river. So to make sure this side of the bank is ready, I'm going to flatten all this terrain. Or at least vaguely most of it. Mainly just randomly flailing about and hoping that I get all the important bits and don't come across a weird lump in the ground later. Whoop. I did the thing again. Apparently so whenever I'm doing this I accidentally start misclicking my mouse buttons. And flailing about. Yeah, it's just clear it all right back to the edge of the map. We have the red coins for it. I'm gonna use them while I have them. I only end up losing them all later. There's something that can happen, it's still a definite danger. It's worse now, in fact, because so much industry relies on coins that if you suddenly run out of coins, you've got a serious crisis on your hands. And also, you're more likely to suddenly run out of coins because of all the things you're constantly setting up that use vast amounts of coins. So you gotta be very careful. You gotta keep an eye on whether you're keeping up with the coin stuff, and if you're not, you need to get more things being delivered to your towns. Okay, so where have I got my roads? There they are. Let's bring them out over the water a little bit. I think I might just go straight across. It's going to be a little bit awkward. Fishing boats aren't going to be able to cross, but then I don't think there's any particular reason for them to anyway. There's a part of me that wants to just fill in this river because there's not technically a use to it apart from having farms around it. But I like the idea of keeping that part of the landscape intact, even if I'm flattening the rest of the landscape. So yeah, we'll run some road out a little ways. And then I think we'll have this be the end of our block. The smallish one here, a 3x4. And there's some other stuff we can put in this bit here. Actually, no, it's river. There's nothing I could put in there. We'll probably like just abandon that as river and not worry about it. And I'm going to use my my new supply of yellow coins to fund destroying all these trees with impunity. I still want to try and have workers cut them down if possible before I get to them, but also I'm expanding quite rapidly here, so it's never going to happen. Right now, I'd have to sit about and wait for just too long. Though I can start setting it up elsewhere. Like we can have another 100 people right now, so we could definitely get the people together for some woodcutting expedition stuff. So if I just like get the chute over here, then I can hire like 6 guys and be like, chop down trees, put them on that, get them out of here, send them over there. It does seem like it's a good idea to have buffers of key raw materials like wood, stone, coal, iron, but not things like herbs, because you could just build a farm that grows herbs. Previously there was an issue, like there was a reason to have little stockpiles of crops because you needed them to plant the crops, but they've changed it now so that it's just a coin cost, because it was really awkward to have a little stockpile of every different kind of crop, and if you ever accidentally destroyed all of a particular kind of crop, you'd then never be able to grow it again, which is bad. So you now don't need to do that, you just pay money to get a crop, even if it's not on your map and you've never found it, because that it's just easier that way. Okay, I'm going to keep this going this way, I think. Oh, no, there was a little lump right there. How did I miss that? Blooming grass. I always blame the grass. And the fact that I just flail to flatten the ground rather than being smart about it. Flailing is fun. Just getting, like, just randomly flattening about the place. It's fun watching everything just drop down to ground level, especially when you get to the higher altitude places where the drop is ridiculous, and with giant weird cliffs. We started to see a bit of it, like, over here. It gets more ridiculous than this. Like, what have we got? We've got that thing there. I'm gonna flatten that one day. It's gonna be great. Okay, so we need a, presumably a kitchen. Also, I think we need to raise this bit of terrain here. Oh, we're not allowed to because I've put stuff here. Alright, we'll just put bloomin' scaffolding in. It's fine. Okay, what buildings do I have in my building menu? I've not been paying attention to that. Not a kitchen, so we'll go get a kitchen. Kitchen. Definitely on water, though I don't think this needs it in any way, shape, or form. And you are to make cheese. So, takes 10 seconds to make cheese. That's, I think, too long. I think we need 2 of these. Alright. So, buildings. Kitchen. Put it here. And I'm going to take that one. There we go. You will also make cheese. 1 every 5 seconds is definitely enough. Now, maybe in the long run we won't need 2 of these because one of them will get so ridiculously fast that it does the job. But right now it seems like we need it. So, we need 1 cloth every 5 seconds. So, let's find a workshop. Put it there, though I might move it later. And yes, it makes... Wait, no, that's bandages. Where's cloth? There's cloth. Makes it every 4 seconds. I think I'll go... I'll go with making it from wool because we're already going to have pastures anyway. So we might be able to be more efficient by having one of the pastures split between multiple jobs, that sort of thing. I need to annihilate more trees. Oh dear. It's fine. And let's get some more road extended out. Just because we can. And yeah, we need to work out how the cloth gets to the kitchens. Probably actually through this way. I'm going to flip this workshop and I'm going to have this happen on the ground. So that, and then we'll get 2 pushers. Do it like that. Because we're going to need room anyway for belts to happen around here. Next we want a pasture, and I realize I have this on the bar. Easy to do it that way. So I have no idea how many pastures we'll need actually, so I guess I'll just have to look. So, wool. We can wait 1 every 6 seconds. I'll take that. That's quick enough. And then the milk we need 3 of for each. So it's actually we need 3 every 5 seconds. And actually, we can make 3 in 6 seconds. So I think that's what we'll go for. We'll aim for 6 seconds, because I think that's still more than enough to fulfill the requirements. So we'll just have 2 pastures. 1 makes milk, 1 makes wool. Piece of cake, really. Just a shame that, because of how I've arranged this, I can't have one on water. Kind of tempted to change around my system here. I will not bother. Okay, again, I'm going into this menu. The pasture's right there. So, we'll put it there. And yeah, this one I think is provided with water already. This one's going to be making the milk, of course. This one will make the wool. And so yeah, this one's got water, this one doesn't. So I'll have to set up a well for this one. So, buildings, and then there's the well. Put it there. Oh, you know what? It won't be able to put into that particular spot, because that's the output point of the pasture. I don't think we're using it, but I kind of want it facing that way anyway, so I'm going to move the the well a bit. We can actually have the well. No, we'll have it. We'll have the well there, and then we will have a belt there. Grabber. There we go. It's being provided with water, presumably quick enough. Now we need the milk to be sent to both of these. We're going to have this higher up. So 1, 2, 3, and across, and then split. Something like that. Oops, nope, like that. Then splitter. Oh, I'm going to flip the grabber because I need to make sure... Oh, there's nothing actually been made in there yet, thinking about it, so it's fine, but better to be safe than sorry. That's specifically for milk, then rotate it to face the right way. And then this one here will go scaffolding this way. And then grabber, and this is grabbing the wool. There it is. Okay. That's all that done. Now these need to be provided with animal feed. So how much do they need? 1 a second, and 1 every 3 seconds. Okay, that's awkward. So every 6 seconds they need 4, I think. No, every 6 seconds they need 8. Okay, basically slightly quicker than 1 per second. How quick does a grain mill run again? Slowly. We're gonna need like 5 of these. Ugh. Okay. And then we'll need 5 farms to feed them. Have I got these numbers right? That seems like a lot. I guess the cheese is like fancier. What tier is cheese? It is tier 5 and 20 coins. So I guess yeah. It's the milk requirements that's the killer. You need tons of it. I hope I've got these ratios right. We're only going to know really when this is done. Okay, so 4 grain mills, I guess. How to set these up in a compact way. Might have them across the road. Uh-oh. Oh no, there's firestones here. We can't mine those for like many episodes yet. That's going to take a long time before we can clear them. I guess this can be the feeding area. We can have them start like back here. But we'll have to feed into them as well as feed out of them. That's the thing to remember. And yeah, we're going to have to pave over a lot of this. Wait, hold on. Delete that so I can just fill in this water here because I want to farm it. No, what is it? Tools. Train flatten up. And just fill this in. Fill it all in. It's fine. Okay, so grain mill. Plonk, plonk, plonk. Oh, all right, of raw stone. Uh-oh. What's that about? Oh, that's being given priority. Oh no. This thing just isn't filling up at all. Right, we need a new system here. Go this way. Chutes will go this way. And then we'll put in a splitter so they will actually go into that still. Though they're not because the chute disappeared. Why did that happen? There. Now I need to see why the supply isn't doing so great. Oh, because people are getting this stone and not this stone that's right here. Oh dear. We need miners, but we're not there yet. And that we need to be able to make rails. And I'm kind of starting afresh here, so in the meantime, we're having struggles everywhere else because stuff's running out. We need to get stone from somewhere. Oh, there's stone in places. Okay, yeah. Oh, there's a lot of stone around. Now that I actually look at all. You know what? I think we're going to be okay. We'll have to get that sorted. I think I'll make that a project for next episode, though. Can I make the remaining grain mill? And a grain mill's on this list. No, they're not. Damn it. Buildings. Grain mill. Am I getting this right? I think I am, but... Oh god. Oh wait, no, it's animal feed I need, not flour. Ah, that's what I was getting wrong. It's half that. Yeah, these make one every 2 seconds and require less grain. Okay, okay, this isn't so bad then. We only need 2 of these. So probably put them right there, feeding straight in. Though I think the ratios are weird because this needs not much and this needs a lot. It's a bit of a pain. We can just have a splitter on this supply and do it that way. Okay then. With that in mind, we can maybe just get this done this episode. Then again, setting up farms is a fiddly process. Animal feed. Animal feed. But then you will split. And go that way. Do that. And that should roughly work. Because yeah, this needs what? They need 7 every 6 seconds, so slightly more than 1 per second. This is exactly 1 per second, I realize. So, not perfect, but I think good enough. It's like, we're cutting corners bit by bit, and I realize it's adding up to things, because we were at 5 seconds, and then we were at 6 seconds, and now we're at slightly longer than 6 seconds, not exactly sure by how much. So I know that to be wary of it, and I will keep an eye on things, but I think that that's enough, especially considering everything's running fast. Everything's running 150 right now, and it'll be running faster once the cheese is being supplied. But you know what? I think with the time it'll take to set up the farms, we should probably just finish for now and get that sorted next episode. So this is all ready to go. We just got to get wheat going into the mills, and then we'll also have to remove the fertilizer and work out what we're doing with that. We'll see what kitchens we can fuel with it. Oh, and we just finished... wow, we actually finished that research. I was kind of imagining that would just last forever. But we have unlocked mana purification. We can now make the magic forge and the void obelisk. We are not at that level yet. And now it's going to start on advanced logistics, which I'm never going to use any of, because look at this stuff. I can't... No. I don't... It gets too complicated for my liking. There'll be like one time where I need one of these things, and then I'll use it, but the rest of the time I'm going to pretend it doesn't exist. Yeah, there's nothing else we can unlock until we actually get the base a higher level, I think. Yep, so that's the only thing we can work on, so we might as well just slowly chip away at this particular research. It'll get done eventually. It'll take a hell of a long time and use a lot of our blue coins, but we're presumably generating blue coins. Wait, are we? No, we're not, are we, anymore? Because now blue coins are only made by the apothecary. That's the thing, the coins have been streamlined. All of these are... That's something I forgot to mention earlier. I really should have done this at the beginning of last episode. But yeah, all the food stuff is yellow coins, and all the material stuff is red coins. And I think the apothecary is all blue coins, except for ethers, which can be any color, and they all fulfill tier 5. So, built into the blue coin and the purple coin tiers are the ability to swap out for a different kind of coin if you're having a particular shortage of that. So that's a way to balance things if you're like, but what happens if I get too much of one particular kind and not enough of another? Then you switch your special optioned ones, of which there is one in the apothecary and I think 2 in the mana one, to the particular color of coin you need. And then that'll work out better for you, and you'll be able to keep a decent balance of coins based on what your particular playstyle is and how much time you spend flattening all the ground and therefore need all the red coins for. That's what I just made 1 million red coins so I could flatten all the ground. That was the entirety of it. And then once I flattened all the ground, I swapped to yellow coins so I could buy more land to flatten later. That's my way of doing things. So yeah, there we go. Next episode, we'll sort out the farms, feeding into that, and we'll get some stone being mined to fix the stone issue that's developed here. So yeah, now this is filled up, but also there's just not enough going into making the stone bricks. That's affecting our happiness as well, in fact. Yep, our material stuff is going down. It's dropping down into tier 2. It won't drop any further because we have planks as a backup supply, but we don't want to dip into that if we can. We want to keep using the... We want to have the bricks and be up at the end of tier 3. We'll see what we can do there. But that is all we have time for today, so I shall say goodbye. Thank you for watching, and I shall see you next time.